New York taught me that ambition and struggle can look identical. That sometimes people aren't lazy or lost, they're just tired of fighting a system that never gave them a fair start. And I realised it's easy to romanticize a place until you really see it. Every city has its beauty, but not every city forces you to question your humanity the way New York does. Maybe that's the real lesson. That progress means nothing if we stop seeing the people.
Hey guys, and welcome to episode 2 of Life Lessons from Travel. Today we're going to be talking about the dark side of the American dream, more specifically what I noticed when I went to New York. I'm sure you can relate, but almost everyone I know that's been to New York only says positive things. It was the best trip of their life, it was the best place they've ever been. The American Dream, Gossip Girl, Sex and the City, every show you can think of, all the positive stuff, just money, success, glamour, happiness, all that good stuff. Genuinely, every single person I know went to New York and came back saying, that's the best city I've ever been in, that's my favourite city in the world. And so when I finally went, I was kind of expecting that, and it just didn't come. And I don't know if it's because I saw beyond what everyone else was seeing. Or maybe, disclaimer, I was staying in a rough area that probably played a part as well. I'm not going to sit here and lie. But in general, I mean, yes, it's a fantastic city, and yeah, it leaves an impact on you, of course, like, you know, the billboards in Times Square and all the skyscrapers, and it is definitely a beautiful place. But what no one seems to mention is the other side of that. You know, you have Manhattan with all the rich people, but then surely you're also seeing the number of homeless people on the streets of Times Square, on the subway, basically everywhere, no? Now, I know this problem gets spoken about a lot in terms of LA, and I haven't been to LA, so if New York is nowhere near as bad, I honestly cannot imagine what LA is like. Because to me, it was insane. I live in London, right? We also have a lot of homeless people. But what I saw in New York was just, it was beyond anything I've ever experienced. I think in many ways, New York reminded me of London. Like, you had like the nice areas, and then you also had the rough areas. And that was quite obviously reflected. But the actual difference in New York was so much greater than what you experience in London. For context, I grew up in like not the greatest area in London, right? I'm not from the Chelseas and the South Kensingtons. So I thought I couldn't be fazed. I thought I was indestructible. I genuinely always believed I can take on anything. You know, I don't really have that feeling of fear when I go places. It's probably a bad thing to have, but this is not what we're talking about today. In New York, we stayed in Washington Heights, which is not the worst area. Like, there's areas that are way worse, and that's probably the part that's kind of worrying. Because we would come out of the subway, 175th Street, and it was a look down and go straight to your hotel or to your Airbnb or wherever it is that you're staying. You're not looking around, you're not hanging around, you don't. Like, I would come out of the subway and turn my head round the corner before coming out to make sure there was no one up there. And a lot of the time there was. Like, the ratio of an actual civilian to a homeless person or somebody on was literally like 1-to-1. I kid you not. Like, it was like 50% of the area. And another thing is, like, in London, the homeless people just mind their business. Like, they ask for change, and if worst case scenario you say no, they just walk away. Like, they're just normal people that happen to live in extreme poverty. in New York, they're just unhinged. Like, they're actually unhinged. I was in 7-Eleven getting one of those hot dogs that you have, like, you know, behind the... Yeah. You know what I mean. If you've been to 7-Eleven, you know what I mean. We don't have 7-Eleven, so this was a new experience for me. Either way, they have, like, hot food there. And I was like, oh, like, this is so exciting. Let me get a hot dog. And so I get one. And then next thing you know, this actually just crazy person comes in, starts caressing all the food, literally just like taking it, borderline taking a bite, putting it back, touching every single thing, screaming, yelling, shouting. And shopkeepers just do nothing. Like, they actually just do nothing. They come back to me because I was stood there and I was looking horrified because I had just bought that hot dog. I was like, like, I can't consume that now. I can't. And so I was just stood there kind of horrified. And the shopkeeper shouts at me. And he's like, why are you still standing here? You're in people's way. I'm in people's way? Are you not seeing what's happening? Is this invisible to you? And actually, that being said, yeah, like, I feel like that's another thing. Genuinely, what goes on is just invisible to everybody else. I know as a society, there tends to be a habit, especially in cities like London and New York, to genuinely just ignore homeless people. But there, it's taken to the extreme. Like, there's just so many of them and no one bats an eyelid. Like, no one even looks down to acknowledge the fact that they're there. And like I said, like, this whole scene, and everyone else was just continuing like this was a normal Tuesday afternoon. Hello? And then later, when I actually had the hot dog, I took like a bite or two in and I was like, I can't, I'm gonna be sick. And so I went to throw it in the bin, and as I'm going there, somebody else came up to me and they were like, can I have your hot dog? And I was like, yeah, like, sure. But this would actually just never happen in London. No one would ask that. And my question is, how did we normalize this level of suffering on a city built on success? It was a completely different experience with poverty that I was exposed to in London. And also another thing I noticed, actually, I feel like the homeless people in London, they genuinely have nothing and like a sleeping bag. But in New York, they walk around with trolleys, and these trolleys are like packed up to the max. They own so many things. They own everything literally but a house. That's all that they don't have. And I guess that's why the number of homeless people is so extreme. This is genuinely people who were chasing the American dream and just fell through the cracks. We put so much focus on those that make it. Those are the only people we seem to see. But what about those that just almost made it? Like, a lot of these people, I feel like it's really sad because you can tell a lot of these people take drugs. Very rarely are the homeless people in New York just homeless. Do you know what I mean? Like, matter of fact, sometimes you see something on the flip side. You see people that look very well kept and very clean, and you think they're just like any other civilian until you see the way they walk, and they're walking like a zombie. It's like the American dream is both a motivator and a trap. In the US, you're told to make it on your own. But what happens if you can't? You know, not everybody makes it. How many people go to the States to make their dreams come true? How many people fall through those cracks? Those are the people we are seeing. Or, well, not seeing. Not seeing because they're invisible to society now. So I guess a big question is, why is there such an extreme difference between the UK and America? And I guess this is a combination of different reasons. But I think the main difference here is one is predominantly a poverty issue and the other is an addiction issue. And those are treated very differently, especially in America. In America, it's viewed as a crime. We have council housing provided by the government. We have healthcare, free healthcare provided by the government. If an addict in America wants to get better, they don't even have access to the facilities that will help them. America lacks the support system that we have in the UK.
When people talk about New York, they call it the city of dreams. But walking through it felt more like a city of survival. I saw wealth and struggle sharing the same sidewalk. Everyone says this is the place you make it, but no one talks about what happens to those that don't. This is what New York taught me, about society, about empathy, and about what it really means to be human.
And before I wrap up the video, I wanted to introduce something new that I'm trying out. If you click the link in my bio, you'll be taken to my new travel page, which includes two things which might interest you. One is I post amazing travel deals every week to niche destinations that you probably wouldn't have thought to go yourself for an extremely low price. For example, I went to Hong Kong for £500 and that was flights, hotel for 8 nights and breakfast included. So if you're interested in these kind of deals, make sure you give my account a follow and stay tuned for more every week. And the other option is, if you're interested in something specific, if you provide the information for the kind of destination you're looking for, how long you want to go for, who you're going with, etc., as well as your budget. And depending on the package you choose, I will curate the best deals for you, starting from only £29. So if you're interested, make sure you give the account a follow and make sure you click the link. And that wraps up episode 2 of Life Lessons from Travel. Make sure you give this a like, comment down below and subscribe to my channel.